Stay tuned for Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis, a leading financial retirement strategist and the founder of Sudis Financial and Insurance Solutions, right here in Fresno. Every week, Dale discusses pressing financial topics of the week, ranging from reliable income strategies to our financial markets, including Social Security, tax strategies, wealth management, RMDs, legacy planning, long-term care solutions, and most importantly, how to make sure you have enough guaranteed lifetime income to retire your way with choice and dignity. From taxes to trends to total transparency, Dale covers it all. And now, here is Retire Your Way and Dale Sudis. That's right, friends. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial. Every week, coming to you on the airwaves for a full hour of trying to help you be and stay retired, income strategies, tax efficiency, estate planning conversations, medical, long-term care, how and when to turn on that Social Security, and if you already have, how do we maximize and tax efficiently use that spend down, all of that and more on today's program. But I really wanted to start out kind of talking about, Dale, do you actually eat your own cooking? Do you use the same advice you give to everybody out there? Dale Sudis, welcome to your own show. How you doing this week, my friend?
Oh, yes. I'm doing fine. All right, knock off the clapping.
Do you use the same kind of advice? What you were talking about a very interesting client that you were working on for the last few hours. Who was it?
Oh, we've been very busy lately because what the tools I use for others and show how to use these tools for, especially for future income or current, you need income right away. There's a variety of tools that can provide that extra income so that you can stop worrying about your money. And, if you have your income solved, basically what I like to point out to people, if you know your income will last as long as you do, it'll keep up with inflation. And again, as long as you do lasting, we present that out to age 100. Okay. And people say, well, I might not even make it to 80. I don't care, but I'm going to project your, income out that far. But so if you know you got income to pay your bills and you have money, income, extra income to play, do the traveling, join the golf course club, whatever, country club as they call it, buy a boat, whatever the fun things you like doing. You have plenty of money to do that. When the fun stops, you have plenty of money. You got a system where you have excess money to keep yourselves out of a nursing home and bring the care to your own home, or if it's not safe, practical, you move into one of those cruise ships on land we call assisted living. Some of those are really nice. So let's say you have all that income dialed in, paycheck, playcheck, care check, okay? Then it frees your mind up to be able to focus on those more important things, your family, the other things you enjoy doing, and the important things you want to do with your retirement. So to do that, sometimes we implement annuities. And a nutshell, what is an annuity? Some people, to them, it's a four-letter word. But really, it's only because there's a lot of confusion about annuities, right?
Mm-hmm.
They hear, oh, you could lose money, or they have high fees, or all kinds of stuff.
Can't get to the cash. They're illiquid.
Yeah. Oh, you tie your money up. Okay. So there's three basic types. There's a variable annuity. That's where you have an insurance contract, which gives you abilities to create income from it. But you also have your money on the stock market. So you have investments. So that money, yes, can fluctuate up and down. And so technically that type of an annuity, you can lose money, right? Because it's fluctuating up and down with the stock market. So the fees on those are higher too, because you have, the insurance contract fees, and you have whatever investment fees, however you set that up. So those fees can add up. And that's what brings a lot of negativity to the word annuity. I don't use those, never have, never will. They do have their place, don't take me wrong, but I don't use them. Then there's what's called an immediate annuity, where you give an insurance company a chunk of money, and immediately you get guaranteed income for a set number of years, or for life, or for joint life. Let's say you're married. No fees on immediate annuities. no risk. It's set up, they guarantee the income for that period of time. It's kind of like if you win the lottery in California and it's 26 million and you say, I want the 26 million, I don't want the, let's say, 10 million lump because I got to give half of that to Uncle Sam and Uncle Newsom. You say, I want that 26 million. The 10 million goes to an insurance company and they give you 1 million a year for 26 years. That's how it's paid out. It's annuitized. It's an immediate annuity when you do it that way. Now, the third type is what they call a fixed annuity. Most people understand what a bank CD is, right? It's you put money in for 3 months or 12 months or 5 years, and you get a set guaranteed rate for that period of time. And a lot of times you can't even pull money out during that, or you lose at least the interest, sometimes even more. You get a penalty. A fixed annuity is like a CD, but it's with an insurance company. They guarantee a certain rate for whatever time frame you set it up. And the good side of it, as it grows, you don't get a 1099. So you're not paying any taxes on the growth. So you're making money on what you would have given Uncle Sam if you let it compound, right? So fixed annuities, like immediate annuities, have no fees. So, and no risk, because just like the bank CD, you're not taking any risk. A variation of a fixed annuity is what we call a fixed index. So currently, instead of putting 4 or 5% in your account, all the insurance company does is they buy options on an index. We've all heard of the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the NASDAQ. There's a variety of indexes out there. An option just allows them to lock in today's price on whatever that index is, let's say, on so many shares. For pennies on the dollar, they can lock in, let's say, 100 shares. I want the right to come back and buy 100 shares at today's price. And down the road, that index goes up from, let's say, 100 to 110 value. So they come back and they buy 100 shares at $100 and sell them for 110 each, right? So then you are not, your money doesn't touch the stock market. So it's safe, protected, but you can participate. They give you the upside of that index but not the downside. So it's just a method of crediting. And so there's some really good tools like that out there. And whether it's fixed or fixed index, a lot of these have, or you have the right to have income riders built onto them that you can turn income on down the road or anytime pretty much.
Yeah.
And now that income is likewise guaranteed lifetime. And it can be joint if you're married, or, you could set up individually single life or joint life. So in a nutshell, that's annuities.
For your own complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Sudas of Retire Your Way and Sudas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
You're talking a lot about the tool of annuities, and I get it. 4-letter word for some folks out there. There are positives, there are negatives, but again, it's a tool trying to accomplish something. But I want to ask you this directly. Do you use tools like this yourself, not just for clients, not just in your practice, but for you and your spouse?
Yes, absolutely. Those and other tools that we have in our toolbox. So, and what we've done recently, we've upgraded, like even with the same carrier with this annuity for our future income, we found out that we can upgrade to something that has better growth, better income opportunities. So, because things get improved over the years. So,
once we found out, roundabout when you both. So this was this your annuity? Was this your spouse's annuity? Was this?
Well, this particular one was my wife's, and it was set up a little over 10 years ago, and we were looking at it, and I said, man, I wish we could use this other tool. So I called the company and I said, what's the possibility of me transferring, changing my current wife's one into this newer one, which is a better tool? And they said, oh yeah, you could do that. And then they gave me a whole list of current clients that can be, redone as well, upgraded, improved without, costing them a dime or penalties. It just improves their income plan.
Let's say that again. Let's say that again, because that's, I think, usually the biggest thing is that somebody's being pitched something else, that there's going to be, a higher cost, or even the surrender charge, right? What did you just say?
Right.
You said there's no cost for some of these because even the insurance company realizes that they have a better tool in place?
Right. They're allowing us to transfer, basically upgrade to the newer products on a lot of these clients that have the older products, obviously.
Oh, wonderful.
And it gives them better income potential and better growth potential. Because you remember, when they set up these accounts, they have to guarantee certain things. Well, 10 years ago, the interest rates were, hardly anything.
Mm-hmm.
So what they based the guarantees on was that low rate. But today, interest rates are a lot higher. So they're able to provide higher and bigger or better benefits. And that's what I want for my clients, just like for my family. I just got off the phone with two people. And I said, I've already adopted you. And if you're part of my family, knowing what I know, this is what I would recommend you do. And just like for my wife. And so we're doing, it's keeping us kind of busy because it's, we're contacting a lot and, doing a lot of the paperwork.
But here's another thing
upgrading.
to that. As you said, 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, there were not interest rates that were that great. So the tools, those annuity tools that came out, they couldn't provide that much, quote unquote, guaranteed growth in them. That's from the insurance company, not us saying guaranteed. But now the interest rates that went up over the last 2 years, there are better tools out there. We've talked about it in a commercial. It's called Refinancing Your Retirement. Taking a look at the tools that maybe you got 5, 10, or 15 years ago, annuity tools to be specific, or maybe even life insurance.
Or bank tools.
Or even,
investment tools.
Even bank tools. The thing is, we know from the Fed, and I think they were just in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and they always talk about interest rates. We know that their plan is to cut interest rates 2 or 3 times before the end of the year. Folks, I'm not kidding when I'm saying this is the time right now to call and review any annuity, life insurance, even your banking products, anything you're using that is based on an interest rate, and your investments as well.
Yeah.
Call, get that review right now. There are folks standing by to take your phone call. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Let's do your investment tool review right now. More with Dale Sudas right after this.
Retire your way with Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
In your retirement spending plan, which accounts do you take from first to pay your monthly expenses? Your 401ks, 403bs, or 457s, or your IRAs, or your Roth accounts, investment, or savings accounts? Do you turn on your Social Security right away or delay? Do you use the growth from your mutual funds, ETFs, or bond funds first? Did you sell your business to create income, or do you have life insurance or annuity options? Or what about using HSAs for medical costs? Are you unclear if you have a retirement income strategy at all? You have accumulated assets for retirement for years. Now you need an efficient strategy to make certain these assets work together and last as long as you need them to. Call Dale Sudas of Retire Your Way and Sudas Financial for your own complimentary written income plan right away. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Or you can write Dale at dale@sudas.com. SOUTAS.com. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial. If you'd like to learn more about Dale and his entire team, because we've got a team of folks. We do your discovery meeting. We help you with Medicare selections, and that takes time, especially as we're getting towards the end of the year. Social Security, of course, we do the investments and the planning on that, the insurance, the annuities, but we have teams of people. Of course, Dale here is your rock, your leader, your captain, who leads us through all of this. But he's got a team of folks supporting behind it. So you're going to get to meet the entire team. But if you'd like to learn more about us, go to Sudas.com, SOUTAS.com, or call the phone number. Schedule your appointment to come on in. One of our team members is literally standing by right now to schedule that for you. 833-856-1382. Dale, I know the feeling myself in being behind. And now that mostly for me comes back to my scholastic days. Boy, I did a lot of cramming. I can remember a lot of 4 a.m.s, 5 a.m.s. Like I might as well just stay up because I did not study. For
Yeah, your
this test.
assignment's like you're supposed to turn it in 2 weeks, and then on the night before you stay up all night just to even start it and finish it, right? Okay. But think about it this way: people start their careers and they're not making a lot at the beginning, and maybe they have a family and they're not able to save very much. And then once the kids are out of the nest and we're making more money, they start saving it, and then they're thinking, do we have enough to be able to stop working eventually, and will it last, right? And I get that a lot from people. They come in, sometimes they're already retired wondering, is my money going to last? Or a lot of them, I'm thinking about retiring in a couple years or 5 years, and I don't think I've saved enough, did I? And let's take a look. Well, what do you need now? What do what are your goals? What do you want to do when you retire? And we start plugging all that in. It's just about a simple retirement income plan. And we don't even charge to do that. Technically, we could, the way I'm licensed, but we refuse to charge people to help them see where they're at and if their money's going to last. And if there's things that we can do to help them, we explain very clearly how we make money, before they even sign on any dotted lines.
But right now, literally, to have a conversation with you, to sit down with you and the team in the office in our discovery meeting, you might start with Katya, you might start with somebody else in the team here where we could gather some information, find out what you're at, your age, how much do we need to do. But for late starters, I got to tell you, I've crunched some numbers myself, just some napkin math, as we like to call it. And even if you're 60 plus right now listening to this program, if you've got a good job, let's say 401k, if you max out your retirement accounts, Roth 401k or regular 401k, doing catch-up contributions, right now, that's $30,500. That's the max out. That's how much you can put away per year. You do that for 5 years, 6 years, maybe work until 65, 66, 67. I mean, that's $30,000 every single year, plus any growth, if there is growth from our markets. Even if you feel like you're incredibly behind, there's a lot you can do to catch up right now. But Dale, wouldn't you like to sit down with folks and help them figure out that math now?
Yeah, know how, what if you only need to save $20,000 a year based on the number of years you want to keep working? Or what if, based on what you've already saved, you could retire this year? I mean, it's amazing when I show people based on what they want, what they need for their income. There's many times I show, you could stop working now. Your income's going to last. It's going to keep up with inflation and so on. And, I had a couple met last year. They come back. We're working on it. You could retire this year. No, I think I'll keep going one more year just to kind of, because it just doesn't want to stop right now. But that's okay. But it's a matter of knowing. It's a matter of plugging in the numbers based on what you want, what you need. There's no little cookie cutter. I don't go, to the little stores and buy those little fancy shaped cookie cutting. What are they? Those little metal things.
Yeah, I'm trying. I can picture them. I know around the holidays we still make all of our holiday cookies and so forth, but there is no cookie cutter solution to the retirement plot. We just don't put it all together and it's all the same for everybody. It's not the same numbers.
Right. It's not. It's everybody's numbers are different. Everybody, what you need and what you have, what you want to be able to do is different. I have ones that have oodles and gobs, those technical financial terms, lots of money. And, they don't spend money. So
that's an interesting.
I have ones who, do have big goals and it's a matter of now, how do we structure your savings? Maybe you do need a tool that provides some additional guaranteed income that can, also keep up with or beat inflation. In other words, it can increase over the years. So there's, a variety of tools.
To get your complimentary Retire Your Way review, call Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial at 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Yeah, let me give you some perspective, though, also on these late starters. I read a story a few days ago. I think it came from a Houston newspaper. Somebody actually shared it with me. A woman in Houston just celebrated her 115th birthday. 115. Now, I'd like to know when
So she's younger than you?
And so what I'd like to know, and I got a better joke about that, or something I actually thought was cute about this story. Not just that she's 115, but she lives with her young, sprightly daughter of 94 years old. Now, you want to talk about longevity in a family and trying to... I would really like to reach out to this family, and I might through an email. I don't know if they want more interviews. But I would like to know, first of all, did you have a spouse? When did you turn on Social Security? What has your income flow been like? Just,
Right.
I mean, could you imagine 115? That would be if let's say it was her. Let's say it was just herself, and well, she's got a daughter. So there must have been a spouse or somebody in there at some point. So let's say they both retired at 65. Let's say he passed away at 85. I mean, she's lived 20 some years without him, losing that Social Security, life savings. Was the house paid off? I assume so. I would guess by 115 the house is paid off. That would be a 55-year mortgage. But
well, I mean, houses back then were what, 10, 20,000?
I know, but it's all relative, Dale. That was very expensive. And, a car used to be, $1,000, $2,000 brand new. It's all relative. But could you imagine if we went to this person and said, by the way, you're going to be retired and alive for another 45 years from the time you or your husband stops working? Wow. How do you save for 45 years? When we're talking about retirement planning for late starters, I'm wondering if we need to shift the conversation to you are living longer than we ever have on this planet, and we might actually want to work just a little bit longer or save a little bit more. I mean, it's a long time.
Yeah,
to
sometimes
be
it is. Sometimes they do need to work a little bit longer, or we need to put more into some of these, properly structured, savings programs. And, there's a lot to it. And how about how to stop deferring the tax on your retirement savings and pay, use the Roth version so that down the road you have tax-free money to play with in retirement instead of taxable when tax rates likely will be higher. So there's many things, but yeah, the best thing to do is if you're not sure and if you haven't had anybody help you, just look at your goals along with what you've saved. It's not rocket science as far as for us. It's, what we do every day. So, we want to, when we have those discovery visits, we're looking at, okay, the most personal thing we ask might be your birthday, because that factors in ages and how we calculate things. But then just get us in the ballpark. Well, what's your projected incomes or current incomes? What's your, what do you have in the bank? What do you have invested? What do you have in retirement accounts, properties, debt, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we put our heads together and we start crunching numbers. And it's not a single visit. Sometimes it might be multiple visits. And again, it doesn't cost anything to find out and have us, take you by the hand. Here's where you are. Here's where you want to be. Here's where you want your money to last. Will it work? And, one of the rewards of this job is seeing the happy, smiles and the relaxing, the pressure comes off their shoulders. So, oh, you mean we did a good job? We'll be okay. Yes, you'll be okay.
Yeah, and just for starting late, if you feel like you're starting late, first of all, if you're one of our listeners out there and it feels like you're not alone. Don't feel badly. Also, though, I want to say bury your head in the sand and go, I can't think about it. Look, let's have the conversation.
Don't be embarrassed.
Yeah, don't be embarrassed. There's so many millions of Americans who are either behind or worried about the higher costs of whether it's become home insurance or auto insurance or going to the grocery store. We totally understand that. You're not alone. But what we would like you to do, the most powerful thing we can offer to you, is be just one tiny bit proactive. Do one of two things. Call the phone number or go to the website. You can schedule an appointment right there as well. Dial the phone number right now, 833-856-1382. Or if you've got somebody sitting next to you in the car, have them dial it. At least take the phone number down so you say, I'm going to call Dale when we're ready. But the thing is, what is the event that makes you ready to finally pick up that phone? I think Dale and I will talk a little bit about this after the break here, is that there's usually some sort of life event. And it's either that retirement is coming or a spouse got sick, or you're not sure what's happening because of the volatility in the markets, or you're concerned about the election, there's usually something that makes you pick up the phone.
Or
How
your
about-
job.
Or your job.
may not.
Yeah. Either job uncertainty or a job going well, and maybe we have excess outside of that 401k, so we're wondering, how do we invest? There's usually something. What is the something that it would take for you, our listener, to pick up that phone and get started on your own no-cost written financial plan? Make the something you and your family so you can sleep at night. 833-856-1382 is the phone number. Folks are standing by. 833-856-1382, or go to the website soutas.com. That's SOUTAS.com.
For your own custom complimentary Retire Your Way review, call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. Will you outlive your money? It's a scary thought, but it's a real concern for many people. In our opinion, that's why it's crucial to have a solid retirement plan in place. Don't wait until it's too late to start thinking about your financial future. Call Dale Sudas and the team at Sudas Financial today to learn how we can help you create a retirement plan that can potentially help you obtain peace of mind and security for years to come. Don't let the fear of running out of money in retirement keep you up at night. Take control of your financial future today. Start your Retire Your Way review and financial plan by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Is your largest retirement savings account one that you haven't paid taxes on? Like millions of Americans, you've saved into a retirement account that deferred paying taxes until you take that money out years from now. One method to save on future taxes is called a Roth conversion, and you could do that right now to save yourself from higher taxes in the future. Currently living during the lowest tax rates of likely your lifetime, wouldn't it make sense to pay those taxes now instead of in the future when tax rates could be much higher? Call 833-856-1382 to talk with Dale Sudas and the team at Sudas Financial to see if doing a Roth conversion from your 401ks or IRAs makes sense. Take the Roth Conversion Challenge from Dale Sudas and the team at Sudas Financial. It's complimentary for our radio listeners who are serious about retirement planning. Challenge yourself. Would you rather pay lower taxes now or higher taxes in the future? Call for your own complimentary Roth Conversion Challenge from Dale Sudas and Sudas Financial. 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382. This is Retire Your Way with Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial. Dale, there's so many different aspects we talk about. Earlier in the program, we were talking about creating consistent income. Then we were talking about, trying to catch up for late starters. And we want everyone to know out there you can be hopeful. There's a lot you can do. And there's a lot that somebody can help you out with. Consider like a financial trainer. Let us help push you and make sure that you can get to and be and stay retired. But there's a lot.
Come in and get your therapy, your financial therapy.
Get your financial therapy. Let Dale stretch out your financial hamstrings. I don't know.
Exactly.
We'll have to work on that one. But you know what? What about this aspect of it though? The kind of, if I can call it, the psychological or the cultural aspects of going into retirement. Isn't there sometimes a fear or a concern? I was like, what am I going to do with myself?
Well, I get all of that. I've had people that, I talked to them, okay, well, when would you like to retire? And they said, today, because they're just fed up, right? And then I get ones, well, I really enjoy what I do. I don't see myself. In fact, I just had somebody I talked to, we had a Zoom appointment, and which, again, we can have a Zoom, we can have an in-person, we can technically do it over the phone if you're far away, because we're right here in Fresno, but still. And I just had a gentleman, we're talking, and he's, it's a family business. What's really neat is it was passed down from his father to him. He's looking forward to helping his kids, take it over. They're already working with him in it, but there's other things he's got going besides that could create, a sizable, income and, a good, a bigger retirement than he was anticipating. And so, but he's wanting to keep working. It's not like me. I could go and, fly airplanes or shoot up rockets or go golfing or go bowling or travel with the wife and, play with the grandkids, whatever. I got lots of things I could do, although I don't see myself stopping what I'm doing because I'm less than 10 minutes from home and I get to come in and occasionally bring our crazy white shepherd in and he hides behind me when anybody's here. But anyway, my point being is there's a lot of us that might like to keep working, or even if it's part-time, because that's what we've been doing. And we've got, people we know, we like, and we like what we do. And it gives us, meaning. It gives us a purpose. So there's a variety of people like that.
Yeah. And part of this, in this transition, it is difficult to think about. Part of this is our identity. We identify with what we do, and either the pats on the back of accomplishing something or finishing a good task or being part of a project, but it's also the social connections, right?
Right. Or what about, I had one recently where, he's been there over 30 years and they've treated him like family, and he really wants, to retire. He wants to do more with his wife, and yet it's not easy. He said it was hard to go in and tell him that, I'm thinking about retiring next year, whenever it was coming up. And so I get it. Or ones who can retire, but, well, I'll work a little longer because, it's what I've been doing, right?
I think it's worth, though, having that conversation, and you even being able to prepare people, because you can, of course, talk to your spouse, your family members, or even your friends. But going into the workplace, people might say, I don't know how they're going to take this. I don't know if they're going to treat me almost as a lame duck for a year.
Or are they going to drop me right away? Or
they're going to say, oh, man, he's already on the way out. But here's the thing. If you look at employment out there, if you look at what large corporations are saying out there, they're saying how it's hard to find dedicated people, responsible people out there, people who understand. Your boss might come to you with a solution of, hey, you know what? We value so much what you do. Would you consider working part-time? Would you consider coming in, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? So we've got you there for the tough part of the week, or later in the, whatever it might be. You might be surprised at how your work actually turns around and says, we understand. You've lived a life, you've saved, you get to live it. But boy, we would still love to have you around for some purpose around here. You never know what the workplace might do for you just by having that conversation, Dale.
Yeah, but the ones who just hate their job, chances are you're not going to take that. But if you like what you're doing and you like the ones you work with, or whatever you're doing, it gives you that good feeling, that good purpose, meaning. Then that would be a wonderful thing to have happen. And yes, I've seen many that way, where they go in and say, I'd like to keep working with you, but I need more time to do things with the family and partially retire.
I think that might be a great takeaway of all of your radio programs, because you just said the word purpose. As we talk about giving a purpose to your money, and not just the total of it, but, doling it out, sectioning it out, buckets, lanes, whatever you want to consider it. We've got long-term money, we've got mid-term money, we've got short-term money. So things we're going to spend in the next 12 months, things we're going to spend 5 years from now, money that we're not going to use for 20 or 25 years. You've got a different purpose. Therefore, it's either invested or saved, protected. The same thing with our life. We've had a purpose, whether it was job, whether it was number one, to take care of the family and make sure that they always had a roof over their head. But I think we also need to define the purpose of our retirement. And yes, vacations and travel are great, but what do we want to do? Do we want to continue learning? Do we want to keep ourselves active, both physically and mentally? The purpose part of it, Dale, do you enjoy carving that out as much as you do the financial plans?
Well, that's part of getting to know people. Well, what are you all about? And, what's important to you? The hardest question on a little form we ask people to fill out is, if money was no problem for you, you have plenty of money, what would you be doing or doing more of? And it's funny to see that people, they're not sure, because their work has been a big part of their life up to this point. So, I want people to be thinking about that, because if you don't have to work, and especially if you don't want to work, well, what is it you want to do? How do we help you do that?
Retire your way with Dale Sudas of Sudas Financial, 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you another psychological aspect, though, of retirement. I think this is a big one that people, and I don't know if it's from the internet. I think there's a couple of gurus. There's one in particular I know who says this all the time, but I want to call it dealing with debt before retirement, because I'm not necessarily saying the phrase be debt free before retirement.
Right,
a lot of
right,
folks
right.
who think that, though, and that's out there. How do you feel about that? So, like taking a chunk of money out of your investments and paying off the house just to call yourself debt free, good or bad?
Oh,
Dale?
yeah, you have this nice retirement account and it's tax deferred. And well, I could take a big chunk out and pay off the house. Well, yeah, but how much of that are you losing to Uncle Sam and Uncle Newsom? Because it's all taxable. I had somebody recent just this week. They're talking about the bonus they got, and well, I'm going to put a part of it, a chunk of it against the principal of our mortgage. Okay, that's fine, and see if they can, what do they call it, recasting, maybe make the payments lower. I had somebody years ago, she had 3 credit cards, and they all had varying interest rates, and that was making things tight on her budget of what she's going to need to keep going and such. So we mapped out a plan because she was making a little extra on each one. I said, no, why don't you attack it this way? Your X amount of dollars is what you're paying extra. So pay that extra on the one with the highest interest rate. Knock that down to 0 as fast as you can. Once that's 0, put all of that money that you've been paying on that to the next highest interest rate, and so on. And we designed it in less than a year and a half. She would be on that side of it debt free. She might have still had the mortgage. Big deal. I mean, you could be retired and still have a mortgage for a time or indefinitely if you want. That's going to be built into your budget.
I
what
think
you
a
have to
more
pay.
sophisticated way of talking about debt, and this is what you do as a financial advisor, not just somebody who's trying to sell books or get people to show up at a seminar that they have to pay $100 for, is that there's a difference between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt, credit cards, right? The double
Typically.
percentage points, typically, yeah.
Yeah.
If you can find a 4% credit card, that would be a nice credit card. There might be some credit unions out there where you can actually get a lower rate on something, but generally speaking, a higher debt like that. But if you have a mortgage rate that was, maybe 3 or 4% from, decades ago, and why would you take that money out of the market that could possibly make even 5%,
6, 7, 8,
6,
yeah.
7, 8. Thank you. I was going to go for a reasonable number there, a 6, 7, or 8.
Yeah.
We call that opportunity cost. You're losing out on what the growth would be. Besides the fact, if you were to take money out of your investments, liquidate it like that just to pay off another investment, isn't there a tax implication, Dale?
Well, yeah, you have this IRA, 401k, and I could take money out of that. Yeah, fine. But how's that going to affect your other income? Because that's going to go on top and be taxed at the highest rate, whatever you've pushed your tax brackets up to. So literally, I've said the same thing to many different people. You have a 2 or 3% interest rate on your mortgage. So what? Why are you going to take money out of these accounts over here, whether they're invested, whether they're retirement, tax deferred or not, that are making you 4, 5, 6% to pay something that that's only costing you 2% or 3%. So it's just looking at the whole picture with you. A lot of people come in, they have fancy careers, things that I just flat tell them, don't ask me to do what you do, because I'd mess it up. That's not what I know.
Yeah.
I do know this, and I can help you see clearly a way to reach your goals and show you a way to make that money last, and be able to do the things you want to do. That's my purpose in working with you.
I'll add on to that, Dale. It's not even about fancy careers. You can be a wonderful third grade teacher. You could be the greatest mechanic, and your schedule is just as busy as Dale's is. You're scheduled out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in advance. You could be an engineer. You could be a rocket scientist. You could be the manager at a store. And here's the thing. You're an expert at doing what you do for those organizations. How would that make you be an expert on your 401k, your 403b, your TSP? You don't know what you don't know. And even simple things like this, saying, it's a good thing to pay off my house. Do yourself a favor. Call a financial advisor before you do that, before you make a financial decision that you can't undo, or that it would cost you a lot in fees and taxes to change. Things like your Social Security, even your Medicare elections, what to do with your investments, how and where do you roll it out to once you leave that job. Folks, call a financial advisor, and we say this all the time, whether it's us or someone like us, make sure they're a fiduciary, make sure they do retirement planning, make sure they're holistic, and you can talk to them about everything you need in your retirement plan. That's what Dale and the team do here at Sudis Financial. Call the phone number 833-856-1382. When you do that, we'll schedule an appointment for you. You'll sit down with our team, we'll do our discovery meeting, and we'll find out how we can help you. And there is absolutely no cost to that for our radio listeners. 833-856-1382. This is Retire Your Way.
Do you know how you'll generate income from your investments along with your Social Security in retirement? In our opinion, it's never too early to start the income planning process for your future. An income plan can help you work towards creating a steady stream of income to support you throughout your retirement years. Don't leave your financial future to chance. Take control today and start income planning for your retirement. Call the team at Sudis Financial so we can help you design a complimentary written income plan to help you live the retirement you've always wanted. Call 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Welcome back to Retire Your Way with Dale Sudis of Sudis Financial. Over the last few weeks here, we've been talking about covering all of your retirement bases. As we're getting into the back half of the show here, I think we should probably talk about estate planning. I want to know, how integral is that in your practice with you and the entire team? And more importantly, I like to know sometimes the mistakes to hopefully help our listeners avoid them if possible. What do you see when it comes to estate planning, Dale?
Or see the good and the bad, right? And the ugly, right?
Yeah.
So simply put, there's people who don't understand why they need a trust for their real estate, right? Then there's ones, like recently, in fact, within the last 2 weeks, I talked to a family, and the two children are, they're adults. The mom died 5 years now after dad died, and there's a sizable estate, but mom and dad didn't know that they should, not only put the house in a trust to pass it on to the kids, but they didn't have any named beneficiaries on their bank account or this other investment account. And, they did happen to have it on a retirement account, and that was good. But that's a small portion of the whole estate. Mm-hmm. And so, and I'm telling them, before you, just close out that retirement account, let's make sure, what type of account it is. Because if it's a type of IRA, tax deferred, then what you take, if you split 50-50, it's still going to be 100% taxable to you. So let's find out what it is before you jump and take the money. I've seen people do that in the past too. But, so knowing the importance of having a trust is, in a simple way, it's just a fancy will, okay? It outlives outlives the two of you. So it keeps your property going where you want it to go, maybe to the kids or whoever, without probate. So this other family is going to have to, use an attorney. I referred a couple of them to them, and they're going to contact them to, get the house and the assets through probate, which could be a couple years. And the size of that estate, they're probably easily, the attorney and, court costs $30,000-$40,000, whereas a trust might run $2,000 or less easily to set up. So, you need that for real estate. Yeah. The good side is when I see those holes ahead of time and you're not dead, mm-hmm. I'm coaching you to set those up, right?
Well, you hear those stories all the time. I mean, celebrities or athletes or people who pass away, but you don't hear so much about regular folks who pass away without this stuff. And I'm telling you, we've seen these stories before. It's talking about 86 to 90 $1 trillion in assets that has been amassed by baby boomers is probably going to move on to either the next generation. Well, first of all, when they pass away, it'll probably go to their spouse, and then from their spouse to the next generation. They're talking 90-some trillion dollars, depending on the assets, that'll pass to the next generation in the next 30 to 40 years as the baby boomers move on to the next plane of existence, right? So if we don't plan for these things, there's only like a few places it can go. You can either pay it out in taxes, pay it out in healthcare, or try to keep it within your family tree. So without protecting your assets, you can pay out a lot in healthcare, right? If you don't actually try to use tools, do you just want to pay dollar for dollar for healthcare costs and retirement things like the long-term care if you've got millions?
No, there's still proper ways to set things up for that. You've got millions. You might want to just have a particular tool that down the road, when you need the money to keep yourselves out of a nursing home or to pay for long-term care in a assisted living, that we can turn income on from. I'm not a big fan of just buying long-term care insurance, because if you never use it, it's a lot of money you paid to the insurance company for nothing, right? It's just future income. So there are tools you can use to pay, pennies on the dollar for your care down the road. But what about the ones who think, well, I don't have a whole lot of, my estate's not that big.
Sure.
But if you own a piece of, land, you have a house. If the house in California is the market value, not the, you don't have a $300,000 house with a $200,000 mortgage and you say, oh, it's only worth $100,000 to me. No, it's $300,000 to the state probate system, so it will trigger probate, because anything from what the attorneys tell me, about $185,000 or more, let's say a property, will trigger probate. The market value doesn't matter, what mortgage, if you have any on it. So you don't want it to go to probate, because the judge decides, the state decides who gets it. And probably 15 years ago, I had a little lady come in. Mom inherited $91,000, and when I said, well, where'd it come from? Well, through probate. Well, who died? Her ex-husband. A good example why you don't want your assets getting in probate, because they decide who gets it. I'm sure the ex-husband wanted his ex-wife to get a chunk of money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's simple to do. It doesn't have to cost a lot. Keeping your beneficiaries up to date. Those are just basic things that we, take people by the hand and make sure are being done as best we can. As we work with you, we're going to make sure, you double check your beneficiaries. If you need a trust, we're going to, we have attorneys that we can refer you to if you don't have your own, and they can set up.
It was interesting, Dale, as I just read something as well very recently saying that if you have a home in the United States, and let's say you're close to paying it off, that as you look around your neighborhood, as you look out the window at the rest of your neighbors here, that those with homes usually have about $1 million worth of assets. Now, a lot of it could be locked up into your property, but from your automobile and your savings accounts and your 401ks and whatever it might be, that, your neighborhood alone, you might be looking at, $1 million, in each house there. So people have stuff. We all have a different amount of stuff. We're not just talking about cash liquid investments. It's what do you want to do with your stuff? Number one, to protect it for your spouse, or if you are on your own, how do you protect it for you, especially if you have to do something like go into long-term care? I mean, there's a couple of things like that, like the financial power of attorney and the medical power of attorney.
Right.
Who do we want to set that
up?
So
when you set up a trust, primarily your real estate needs to be in it, because to be silly, you could take a Sharpie and write your kids' names on the side of the house, and that's where it's going to go if we die. But I can come in, paint over it, and put Dale, to be silly about it, right? So the trust allows it to pass the kids. I just had somebody within this last week who asked, well, what's the difference of just putting our kids on title rather than a trust? Well, if you add the kids on title with you, you create problems, because if one of them have a financial or legal problem, your house is in jeopardy, But really, you bought the house for, $100,000 a long time ago, and it's worth $500,000 when you die. Now, they don't want to live there. They don't want to rent it out. They sell it. They have to pay capital gains on that $400,000 gain. So by inheriting the property under current tax laws, they get a stepped up basis. They sell it for $500,000, and that comes to them tax free. So there's a variety of reasons why you need a trust. Now, the assets that are outside the trust, you have your checking, savings, CDs, you got retirement accounts and such. You could put checking, savings, CDs in your trust if you want. Okay, that's okay. Or you can name beneficiaries. They don't go through probate. But your retirement accounts that are tax deferred, anything tax deferred, you do not name, you can't put them in the trust. You make that all taxable at once. and you don't name the trust as beneficiary, because if the tax deferred money goes to your trust instead of to your kids, let's say, then everything of that money above $15,000 is taxed at 37%, or whatever the highest marginal rate is down the road. Currently it's 37%. So because a trust isn't a person. So there's a lot of just basic coaching. And then, so that's the financial power of attorney allows ones, if you're unable to handle your financial affairs, to deal with those assets that are outside the trust. Now, if you're knocked out and you're at the hospital, you need care, you have a healthcare directive. People call it like a medical power of attorney, but it's a healthcare directive. And that allows ones to speak for you to the doctors, medical staff, whatever, to make sure, things are done the way you want. If you're, technically dead, you might want them to be able to pull the plug. Well, it gives them the power to, do those things. So, those are the things that come automatically, with a basic trust that it gets set up with the ones we refer people to.
And
it's complete.
Again,
it's complete.
And when somebody thought, we were talking before about debt and trying to pay off a house before retirement, thinking you're doing something in your best interest could actually backfire on you. Thinking that you're putting all of your assets into a trust to protect everything, you could be hurting yourself tax-wise. Again, it's why I say before you make a financial decision that we can't undo, speak with a financial planner who does retirement planning, income planning, tax planning, estate planning, medical planning, Social Security planning every single day in their offices. Okay, not on Saturday and Sunday. You're allowed to go be with the spouse every now and then, Dale. Hopefully you guys are enjoying yourselves. Thank you so much for listening to the program. One last question. What is the most important aspect of retirement planning? Social Security, your retirement plans, 401ks, healthcare, taxes, investment strategies, real estate, annuities, debt, retiring abroad, technology, your health. Which is most important, Dale?
Which is most important? Yeah, all of the above.
All of the above.
It just depends on what's most important to you.
That's a good way to
really
say it.
think about it. Not everybody has, property. Not everybody has, retirement accounts. So, again, you don't have to have millions to be talking to us. Maybe you have a couple 100,000. And you have Social Security coming down the road or whatever. How do we structure things so that you can be comfy and know that things will be okay throughout retirement?
Very good way to answer that question. What's the most important thing in retirement planning? What's important to you? That's what Dale and his team will talk to you about. Folks, thank you so much for listening to the program. You can get started on your own written, no-cost financial plan with Dale Sudas and the team. We're wrapping up the show here, but we still have people standing by. Call the phone number. Set up your appointment, even if it's for a couple of weeks from now. Set up that appointment now. 833-856-1382 is the phone number, 833-856-1382. Or if you'd like to learn more about Dale and the team and see some of the tools right there, no cost to you, go to Sudas.com, SOUTAS.com. Click on the events tab. You see when Dale is going to be live again soon, teaching retirement planning in person. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back again next week.
Get your comprehensive, complimentary Retire Your Way review by calling 833-856-1382. That's 833-856-1382.
Investment advisory services offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Each individual investor situation is different, and any ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. No legal or tax advice is provided. Always consult with a tax professional. All rights reserved. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. A Roth conversion may not be suitable for your situation. The primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. The information provided is to help you determine whether or not a Roth IRA conversion may be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Please review your retirement savings, tax, and legacy planning strategies with your legal and tax advisor to be sure a Roth IRA conversion fits into your planning strategies.